Welcome to another episode of Panther Pourri. As you can hear from the dead air as leading in, Jacob is not here tonight, so I'm doing the intro. With me, as always, is TJ Peterson, and joining us tonight, fellow member of the goalie squadron, goalie community, David Dwork from the Hockey News. It's the Hockey News, right?
It is.
That's right.
Hockey
Yeah.
News,
The Hockey News, and it's the hockey show. It's
Yes,
I only have time to remember
the hockey
four
show
different
with
words,
Roy
so
Bellamy,
it's really
also
useful
friend of
that
the
you
show.
have 3-word shows that share 2 words.
yes. Yeah, see, we understand each other so well, TJ.
Ooh,
At
yeah.
some point, we got to get you and Roy on at the same
Hostile
time and have
takeover
some
of
fun.
our
That
show.
would be a
That can
good
definitely
pod.
be arranged.
Yes. But we're here. This is our trade deadline preview episode. There's a lot going on. Florida Panthers traded for Vitek Vanacek tonight in exchange for Patrick Giles, a 12th, 13th type forward. So really not much going back to San Jose. I mean, it's a guy who had a very good camp for the Panthers. And if we're really talking, he's a guy who's going to be a 12th, 13th forward if he hits his potential. So yeah, the Panthers didn't give up much. But what are the Panthers getting in Vitek Vanacek, David?
They're getting a guy who knows how to stop the puck. I think they wanted to. I was going to say they wanted to bring in a veteran guy. I don't necessarily think that was. I think they were looking at some younger guys too. I think they were just looking for somebody they'd be really confident with. And obviously with the Panthers, when you've got the Luongo and the goalie excellence department that's very involved with Bill Zito in the front office. So if those guys are signing off on Vitek Vanacek, then I'm cool with it too. He had some really good years before he went to San Jose. So let's, like Mackenzie Blackwood, great example. Numbers were crap in San Jose, goes to Colorado, kept playing well. Now he's, looking amazing. I'm not saying Vanacek's going to do that because he's not going to be a starter with Florida, but this is a guy who's proven to be a really good goaltender in this league. He's put up some great numbers, whether it was with Washington, whether it was with New Jersey. So I think the Panthers are pretty happy that they're getting a solid insurance policy behind Sergei Bobrovsky to go into the playoffs with.
And he is someone that has playoff experience. He's got 10 playoff games under his belt. I mean, are his numbers great in the playoffs? No. But it's at least someone who's played NHL playoff games. And, we're now in a situation with the trade of Spencer Knight that if Bobrovsky goes down for an extended period of time in the playoffs, the Panthers are kind of screwed. But if it's one game or Bob's not on his game one night and you need to pull him, Vitek Vanacek is at least someone with playoff experience who might be able to get you through a game or two if Bob goes down. Chris Drieger, he had some playoff experience for the Panthers a few years ago, but this is not the same Chris Drieger of a few years ago. There's been a lot of injuries, a lot of wear and tear, and his numbers just really haven't been impressive this year in the AHL. So yeah, I'm much more comfortable with Vitek Vanacek as the number 2.
And it just gives you 2
rather
options
than
also.
Chris Drieger at this
Vanacek
point.
might not play well,
He's going
then
to
you
get a
go
lot
to
of playing
Drieger.
time.
But if he does play well, that option worked. We don't know what's going to happen. They got 2 shots now at having a legit backup goalie.
He's going to see a lot of playing time. Remember, just before the playoffs even get here, it's not going to be all Bob. He's going to probably play at least like 7-8 games of the Florida's final 20. So they needed somebody that they could rely on to get them some wins and to keep them, kind of head above water as they got toward the playoffs. Because now we know that they're not going to have Matthew Tkachuk. So, a little bit more challenging. Obviously, they're in a good spot standing-wise, but you don't want to fall off at all because you got Tampa nipping right at your heels. So, I think that they're probably pretty comfortable with the guy they just brought in.
And that kind of segues me to our next point. Matthew Tkachuk is out for the rest of the regular season. We don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in when the playoffs start. I mean, the hope is that this is kind of the Panthers playing the LTIR game and he's going to be as close to 100% as possible. But if he's not, are the Panthers still kind of looking for another forward for Matthew Tkachuk insurance, David?
I do think that they're looking to add another forward. I don't know if it's necessarily with that caveat that it's because of a Matthew Tkachuk. I don't think that they're related. With Tkachuk, you go back to last season when he had the shoulder surgery during the summer and he started a little bit, it wasn't quite himself. It took him right around until the holidays before he really started looking like Matthew Tkachuk. I don't think that's going to be the case this time around. I think, with this injury, which they haven't confirmed it, but it's kind of been widely reported that it's a groin injury, certainly appears that way based off of what happened and how he looked. That if that's the case, well, it just needs time to heal. And then once he's able to skate, whenever that is, but once he's cleared and he's able to go, he should be fine and good to go and should be able to play his normal stuff. It's not like speed is a big part of his game anyway. So even if he is like a half beat slower or something, he can still do so many of the things that Matthew Tkachuk does that not many other players can do that make the Panthers so much more of an advantage when he's on the ice. So in that regard, I think they'll be all right. But I do think, Alex, that they're going to look at least to add another forward. Maybe like a middle six guy, maybe somebody who can add a little bit of scoring. I think they're really happy with their depth, especially when compared to last year.
So where would you say they're going shopping? Would you say they're going shopping at a department store? The prices might be a little bit high, but they got a decent amount of change in their wallet. Or do you think they're going to like a TJ Maxx or a Burlington Coat Factory? They're just looking to see what prices are, slashed and on sale.
I think the beauty of it being 2025, TJ, is that Bill Zito can just pull out his cell phone and he can browse all of those stores in the matter of like 5 minutes. Yeah. So I think that they're going to check all of the racks, whether it's the sale rack, whether it's the high-end rack. I think Zito is going to leave no stone unturned, especially the way that we're seeing things play out this week ever since they made the Seth Jones trade, which was on Saturday. We're now speaking on Wednesday night. The trade deadline is, 18 hours away, whatever it is. I'm not great at math. I think that Zito being Zito and having the staff that he has, they're going to explore everything. And that's why we've seen such, across the map moves by, whether it's a small move, whether it's a massive move, you never know what's coming with the Panthers. So I think that I wouldn't put anything past Zito and his staff over the next, day and a half.
I know Bill Zito has a flair for the dramatic, but am I kind of crazy thinking that, look, the Seth Jones trade was the big swing of this season? There's not really much left in terms of assets to make another big swing. I mean, in theory, Mikko Rantanen is out there again. There's more rumors today that Carolina's shopping him, but is that something you think the Panthers can even pull off? Like, they don't have. Do you really want to trade your 2027 first and go almost 7 years without one? Do you?
Yeah, I mean, they're very much in win now mode, so I don't think that they necessarily would have many qualms over giving up that 2027 pick, which with the way that they structured the Seth Jones deal, it could be 2026 pick is still on the table, which makes it that much more attractive in terms of, their trade deadline assets this year. I think you asked about Mikko Rantanen. I think with like that particular move, are you taking him in as a rental and paying that massive price? Are you thinking of extending him with the salary cap going up? And with that, there's a lot to consider with that kind of a guy. But considering the salary cap space that they do have to work with, a Tarasenko-esque move, going back to a year ago, a guy who's maybe not making huge money but can have a substantial impact on your roster. There's a lot of those guys out there that are in that 20-goal range that would be a huge boost to your roster that might not kick you in the butt too much cap-wise. So I don't know if, just because of the Jones deal happening, if they're going to go out and make another huge splash for like a Mikko Rantanen, or, obviously they're not going to go out and get another defenseman, so I wouldn't say Erik Karlsson is just the name that popped into my head. But you never know. Like, we're just talking about moves in terms of not removing anything. If there's a guy who they think is going to be that big of a difference, and somebody that, obviously the moves that they've made have been longer term, not short term deals, who knows? Like, we never would have thought in a million years that Jonathan Huberdeau was going to get traded after the year he had. And, a lot of things happen. So with the creativity that Zito and his guys have shown, I don't put anything past them, but I do agree that probably not going to be another top line type of guy going at this point. They don't need that right now. Like, they can go ahead and get one of those middle six type guys, or a little bit higher end, but they don't have to go crazy.
Bill Zito has been the type to do major surgery. You mentioned trading Jonathan Huberdeau when he sees the opportunity to do it, even when his team's been successful. But I think it's fair to say, you can comment on this, even though they're pending UFAs, and there has been speculation about what the Seth Jones trade means for their future in Florida, we're probably not going to see Sam Bennett or Aaron Ekblad move. You think that's fair?
I'd be surprised. Yeah. Oh, are you talking about for the trade deadline? Yeah. Oh, I'd be shocked. I would be shocked just because of the integral parts that both play with this Panthers team. We've seen what's happened when you remove either of them from the lineup, and it's very difficult for them to continue to be as dominant as they are in the styles that they play without those guys. Just because Ekblad plays so many minutes and he's so key defensively. Bennett, he personifies what the Panthers try to do offensively with their forwards. I'd be surprised if they both end up leaving in free agency. I think with the cap going up and for the reasons I just stated, I'd be surprised if they don't make a real hard push to keep both of them here this summer. So for those reasons, I'd be very surprised if any of those key guys, and those two are key guys, if any of them would even be considered removing, because they're going for a Stanley Cup with the group they have. So it'd be hard to see them removing anything integral that's part of the process that they play out. I mean, look, they just won a Stanley Cup. Mm-hmm. They've got their locker room is the envy of the league right now. They've got a lot of things that I don't think they mess with. And those two guys are such key players to what they've built that I think that they're staying right where they are.
Now, money is now kind of, even with the cap going up, money is going to be tight. I mean, at this point, they've got about 18.5, maybe 19 million in cap space for next year. They need to sign 2 defensemen and I think 4 forwards and a goalie. Are they going to be I know based on my math, if you give minimum salaries to everyone else, which is not possible because Mackie Samoskevich is going to get more than the min on his next deal, the Panthers are going to have about 14 to 15 million between Ekblad and Bennett. Do you think they can get it done for that amount? Or are they going to have to, kind of do some wink NBA type deals where it's all right, take a low amount this year, and then next year when we get another $10 million cap jump, we'll take care of you?
No, I think 14-ish is probably enough to get it done. I think Ekblad would probably give the Panthers a bit of a hometown discount if they went down that route. I know he really wants to stay here, and they want to keep him. And just based off of what we've seen happen over the last couple of years with guys that have re-signed, whether it's been Verhaeghe, Forsling, Lundell, Reinhart, everybody took a lot less than what they would have gotten on the open market to stick around here in Florida and to keep building this. So why wouldn't Bennett and Ekblad follow suit with that? That's kind of part of my expectation in how they're going to be able to keep them. But I do think that they'll have enough to get it done.
Yeah, my concern is, simply that Ekblad's been at 7.5 for the last 7 years. Hard to get a guy to take it. He's basically going to either have to take the same deal or less. And, usually guys won't raise this, so that's my concern there. But I appreciate it. We appreciate the time, David. I know we got to get you out of here. I know you said you don't see anything defensively, but Andy Strickland mentioned Radko Gudas. Have you heard anything on that at all?
I haven't. I love that. I would love to see him come back to Florida. I think he would really enjoy playing for Paul Maurice for what they've built here with the Panthers. I know that they had a lot of fun the year that they went to the final against Vegas. Yeah, that'd be cool. He's the captain of the Ducks now. Are they really going to ship him off again? And then, the salary, I don't know if that, which is, what is he getting, $4 a year?
$4 million, and he's got a year left. So even if you get 50% retention, it's $2 million. And the reality is, in my mind, as much as I love Radko Gudas, is he really better than Uvis Belenskis or Nate Schmidt? Not much. Not enough.
Yeah,
to, pay him
Radko adds a little bit of a different spice to the mix. What he does in the room and the physicality and just how you always have to have an eye on him whenever he's on the ice, that fear factor element. I appreciate what Radko brings to the table. At $4 million, based off of everything that we've talked about with their salary cap situation, that'd be a tough one to bring in because he basically would be a third pairing guy and playing 12, 13 minutes or whatever while he does add a bit. That'd be a tough sell. If they can figure out a way to make it work and somehow get him back here and the numbers work, that'd be awesome. I think he'd love it, and I think it'd be a good fit. But yeah, I mean, obviously, that's probably more something I think maybe for the summertime heading towards next year, because they'd have to take away at least 1 or 2 D off that, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be tough to make that work.
Hold on, David, make a Glade and get your plug in.
I was going to plug beforehand.
I like that. That was smooth. You can find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at David Dwork. All my written work goes on the hockeynews.com/Florida Panthers. It's all there. And Every Friday, Roy Bellamy and I, we have the hockey show with our friends Rose and Ethan. It's a lot of fun. We talk a lot of hockey. We have some great guests, and just trying to grow the show. So check it out if you can.
Rose is absolutely the low-key MVP of the show. I always love when she's on.
100%. She is the star of the show. She has the best advice. I just listen to Rose. I just shut up and do whatever she tells me.
It's a good plan. Always listen to the women in your life.
Oh, yeah.
David, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you. Have a good night.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. Good to see you.